Hey guys, Santoli here with Korean, who managed to get top 16 at YCS Bologna playing Vanquish. So why'd you pick this deck and what do you think of it in the format?
I mainly picked this deck because it's really good against Dragotail, and also pretty good against Ballas, which I mostly expect in Europe. And it's also probably the deck that can herald the most going second. It's also really fun, so it's like, might as well play Vanquish. It also worked well on the 3-3, so...
Okay, we'll get into the profile then.
So start off with the non-engines, 3 Impulse, Fire Attacker, 3 Ash, 3 Fuva, and Magnamut. Like the Magnamut, Smith, and the Fire Attacker's Impulse are most because they're attributes, like Fire and Dark. Ash, Fuva are the best generic hand traps. Magnamut, I thought it's still main deck worthy because I was expecting a lot of Dragotail, and they all mostly play the Bandit engine, so I can hit that so they don't get the full on Virtuous, since that's one of the few cards that would actually be able to stop me from playing. It's also good against the Yami Mitsu decks and pure Yami and all the other Mitsu variants. And it adds another attribute to the hand, always good to have. And yeah, not much to explain about the Ash and Fuvas. The Impulse and Fire Attackers, they're like, could have been better. A lot of the time they were kind of dead in hand, especially if I drew either only the Fire Attacker or Impulse and Fire Attacker. But they were still fire, so they still did the job. Not sure if I would keep running 3 Impulse, but you can still do that if you want. Like, they're not terrible. And about the Vanquish part, nothing really to explain for the main ones, like 1 Raisin, so 3 Matloff, 3 Holy Suit, 3 Jiaolong. You could play 2 because it doesn't do anything by itself, but it's often just another level 5 you can trigger, you can summon for free. It's fire, so I think 3 was good. And 2 Burger, it's a dark, and it lets it also play around draw a lot better if you have like a dark already and you get to summon the Burger, so you search and then when you draw you just chain Burger to draw to make that draw a lot worse. And generally having another Burger in deck is nice, since a lot of the time they try to banish it because they think that you only run 1 Burger, so getting to add the second one from deck is also a lot of good value, and it will also be more relevant when I get to my extra deck. And then the 1 Caesar is just a one-off, good, just boss monster. And then to the K9 part, 2 Noroi, it's a decent normal summon. Going second, I usually start 1 out. It's more or less the worst starter to start with if you have to, and it's additional normal summons, so it's only like alright, but going first it's good to peek into your opponent's hand. It's like they're also playing into Fuvas, like not the greatest, but if you have to start with it, better than not having anything else. It's also an Ash Magnet, and then not much to explain here. The 3 Joo-Ho, 3 Izuna, 1 Lantern, and then the 1 Lupus. There was like consideration about running more than 1 Lupus, since that would make you combo a bit when you hard off Su, or when you have like another level 5 random level 5 body left over, like when you get to a random Jiaolong on board, then you get to combo with the Lupus, or just Lupus alone, getting the rank up into a Typhon that's untargetable, lets you break your opponent's board, since it can just run over something, bounce something, and just make Zeus. But I think 1's also fine. Especially a nice part about multiple is that if you use up 1, like when you link it off for Serduja or your opponent banishes it, they think that you don't have Lupus anymore, so they don't really respect the Izuna. But then having multiple means that you just randomly build them out with that. Then to the back row, it's since I mostly want to run attributes, not a lot in the main deck. It's the 1 Stake, 1 Rhoda, then I ran 1 Case and 1 Chaotic Elements. You could run, like the standard would probably be like running 2 Case, or if you only want to run 1, it's 1 Case. But with one Case and 1 Chaotic Elements, it's if you end up opening both, you don't lose to the 1 Ash, which can be nice, since you don't like randomly clock onto 2 hot ones per turns. It doesn't really come up that much, but it's just like a nice little extra. And Chaotic Elements being able to add from the graveyard is also nice. Like if you already use up your Lantern, you just recycle the Chaotic Elements, and the pop effect from the elements can sometimes come up. Like one match I opened 3 Joo-Ho, and I had to discard one for Murakumo, so I had to pop life. And then, so one release, one start, nothing to explain there.
No trap in the main?
Yeah, I didn't run the trap in the main because I was already at 40 and I felt like I already lose so many arrows anyway. Why run the extra trap where I can break on it? And even then, going first, you should usually win with your full board even without trap, since you have like the release, the Ripper, you have Sue setup, you have another rank 5, usually the Nash Knight. Most decks shouldn't play through that.
Okay, we'll move to the extra deck.
The extra deck, for the most part, I think it's pretty standard aside from like a couple choices. But like, I ran only one rock. Most probably run 2, but most of the time, once you get into your resource rotation, the second one barely comes up, at least to me. And even then, like coming to the rest, like when you can extend to Saruja, you can summon with that from the hand. Like once you get into your resource route, you have so many bodies that just generate value. Once you went for your first rock, I think it's fine to only run one. And then the Saruja is just when you have to play pure K9, you draw the deep draw into your deck after you filter it out from all the K9s. And then even then, like when you have to draw into non-engine, if you have a lot of dead cards in your hand, or if your opponent lets you go first, you have dead charms in your hand, you can just filter it out with Saruja, hopefully draw into non-engine or just even more setup or like missing attributes. And the 1 SP, which is good to have. And then for the XCs, it's 2 Ripper, usually go for turn 1, and then second one's nice to have, especially if you have to protect yourself against hand traps, like especially against Dragotail where they keep recycling hand traps. If you don't have the second one, it's very possible that they blow you out by recycling Nip or any other hand trap when you have a very limited hand and have to resolve your Ripper to blow them to get everything else online. And also very relevant in K9 mirrors to just have another one to negate the lupus or the easiness. And the 1 Jax, I think not much to explain there, same with the 1 Werewolf. And so 1 Tiras, it's mostly for Yamimitsu. So on your opponent's turn, if you have to work mostly with only an Izuna against the full combo, you can, with Izuna Lupus, you can just rank up into Tiras in the extra muscle zone, so they can't out it with either Gorgon. They can't target it, so they can't out it with SP or Cookie Way. They can't be destroyed by card effects, so Murakumo doesn't out it either. So the Tiras usually ends up running over the Herald. You overlay it into Zeus, and then that baits out the trap as well. If they don't play the trap in the main, those up the entire board. And I don't think any other rank 5 lets you do that, so that's good to have. Although it didn't come up for me. Also, I played only against 1 Yamimitsu, which would explain that. So I'll probably keep running it in the future. And then the 1 balance just for this disruption. Nash Knight was pretty standard with the CXE Nash Knight. And for the Nash Knight, my targets were the C107. It's good to have going second to break board since it's basically Kali Yuga for the turn. And I also ran the Honor Dark. With the Honor Dark, it enables you to steal 1 monster for the Nash Knight, rank up into the Honor Dark, and then take another monster, which is really good if you either can't kill them the same turn, or you want to make a really big Zeus. And with the C107, the effect didn't really come up for me since it was often just a material for Nash Knight. So I was considering maybe running the regular 101 Honor Arc instead, which would enable the Honor Dark float effect. Since like if that dies, I can just reborn it by attaching the Honor Arc from the grave. Then I can suck up another monster, which can be really good if you have to out 3 monsters without destroying them or putting them to the grave. And then the rest is the 1 Zeus, 1 Typhon. Not really a lot to explain there either. They're just to break the board. Good to have.
And what side deck?
Yeah. And then the side deck, it's for the charms, 2 Meowth, 3 Perulia, and then 2 Nip. It was initially 1 Meowth, 3 Nip, but then the thought process was, why run more Nip than more Charmies if the Charmies draw you into the Nip, or just high rolling your opponent with the Sue or even more Charmies or other hand traps. So It ended up being the second Meowth over the third nib, and it's another Earth which can be relevant if you draw into it late to the game. And then the Puruli is just really good into the K9 decks right now. It's good into Yummy. It's also really good against Melos. A lot better than Meowth was previously since they all run the Radiant Typhoon engine. And with Puruli, they have to commit into free draws, which is really good. And then Nib is, you have to be able to stop them with one card at some point, right? Because you either have to have the suit the combinations to out a lot of the buddies, but if you don't get to that, then Nib's a good blowout. And then you also have a lot of ways to bait out the negates for the Nib. If they have like a Ripper, you have the Sue, you have Ripper, you have other 1-for-1 handships like the Ash. So yeah, that one's pretty good. And then for the rest, it's pretty tally. You can see mostly for Drake Tail. Also, sometimes against like some niche matchups like Lunalite, you can banish some of their resources. It's good to have. It's an Earth, and it puts a body on your board, so it has all the qualities you want in Vanquish Soul. And it just makes mostly like Drake Tail a lot easier, so they can't randomly sack you by having a lot of non-engine hand. Then for the traps in the side, it's free Imperm. It's mostly for K9 since it doesn't make the Izuna alive. And a lot of people mostly try to play around draw. So when they go Joker, summon a 5, they don't search with the Joker first, they go into Ripper. And if they do that, the Imperm can potentially just stop the entire turn. And it's just generally like good hand trap. You can also decide to go first if like the other hand traps don't really do much, or yeah, like if the other non-engine doesn't really do much, it's just good non-engine, it's just pretty good. Then the Snow Devil wasn't the main, so it was inside. Just makes it going first even better. Not much to explain there. And then the one Tikaboo, the going first blowout, just to randomly sack your opponent. It's good against the Yummy, against Malice, and against Mitsu. It's really nice if they stop you. You probably don't really need it, but I didn't really know what else to put in the side deck. Against the good Saki 107 might as well.
Alright, thanks for profile, and any shout-outs before we head on out?
Yeah, shout-outs first to Santoli and Herman, who helped me a lot with the list. Shout-outs to Lenny, who also played Vanquish Soul. Shout-outs to Raf. Shout-outs to my sponsor, Yugiwang. It's a OTS store in the Netherlands. Very nice. And yeah, I borrowed the entire Vanquish Soul core from them.
Okay, thanks again, and congrats on the top.
Thank you.